All right, looks like we are ready for Wacky Races. Here we go.
Hey everybody, I am the Cove, and I'm here today with my good friends J2Champ and JohnCarls, and we're going to be doing Wacky Races any percent for you. So let's get it started down with the countdown. In 3, 2, 1, go.
Woo! All right. Wacky Races, based on the 1968 Hanna-Barbera cartoon, which you all remember from your childhood. It's naturally a side-scrolling platformer because it's a late-release NES game. Not a racing game, despite the name, despite Spike Vegeta's earlier impression. But basically, early in this game here, we're going to collect a couple bones. The way it works is there's a power-up system on the bottom, which kind of scrolls like Gradius. So you get a bone, and allows you to move through the selector options there. So the first one that we're going to select is the hover ability, which was the third option, and then he also got the first option, which is the bombs.
Absolutely. This game came out actually in late 1991 in Japan, actually Christmas Day, so this is a late NES release, 1992 in North America. It's a lot of fun, and we were playing as Mugsley?
Muttley.
Yeah, not even close. Muttley is a dog, and I think it's really important that I believe there's a couple emotes in chat that can be used that represent dogs. Is that correct?
I've been told that there are some dog emotes.
I don't see a reason why the Frankersies or the Oh My Dog shouldn't be able to go on for 22 minutes, so that's just the challenge I have for chat. But go ahead, continue explaining the important things.
Sure. So here we've got our first boss. This is the Gruesome twosome. And what Cove is going to try to do here is he's jumping and trying to damage boost off of some of those cannonballs that are coming off the enemy car there. And if he can damage boost and get those at high altitude, it'll be much easier to make his cycle here. So that was a pretty clean boss kill. He got 2 of those damage boosts that we were talking about in that fight. So that's a pretty good fight.
Yeah, what's really interesting about this speed game is there is not really very much discernible RNG. There's also just a lot of lag reduction, but mostly just a ton of intense execution. There's a lot of hover tech going on here to make sure you reach certain platforms, making sure you're especially using these bombs to despawn enemies before they even come on the screen or as quickly as possible. So lag reduction is a huge part of this game. But if you are interested in games that, don't involve a lot of glitches or tricks, but just kind of high-end execution throughout, this is kind of the game for you. It's a lot of fun, and it's been optimized quite a bit. It was a 21-minute run a few years ago, back in like 2014, coming at you, had the world record a little over 21 minutes. It is now pushed down below 19 minutes. We've got Cannonball with an 1843, and then the Cove here has an 1859. So the game's been pushed to a very optimal level, and you're going to see a lot of that execution coming up here. One of the interesting things here is with the Gradius-style upgrade system, every single level is going to have a boss at the end of it, and we are going to be aiming to have 3 bones picked up. So we're going to want that meter selected over the 3rd empty slot over there, so that once we enter a boss room, all of them have bones in them, and if you can grab that bone, you can refill your health. So that allows the Cove to be able to do a lot of damage boosting on these bosses, allowing them to get inside the boss's hitbox, also just allowing him to just be very aggressive without having to worry about dying.
Right, so while in the first boss we were actually using the damage boost to reach new heights, as we will with one other boss, most of these other bosses we're just kind of using any additional health that we have to stay in tight with the boss here. We've got Sergeant Blast and Private Meekly here. And each boss has 2 phases, so you'll see that they disappear for one phase and then reappear for the second. This is a fairly straightforward boss fight.
Yeah, you can, if you have to continue keeping your head high enough above the quicksand. Obviously, if you sink too far down, you will die. But outside of that, it's pretty straightforward, just damage boosting a lot and just making sure you get those bombs off in proper timing.
Quick note on the world map there as we saw it. The game is split up into 3 scenarios. You can choose to do the scenarios in any order, but for speedrun's sake, it really doesn't matter which order you do it in. We just do A because, that's the option that's selected by default.
It's one of the earliest letters in the alphabet, I believe, isn't it?
It's up there. It is one of.
Okay,
yeah.
Cool. We're also using the US version here. It's only a couple seconds slower than the Japanese version, but your health does refill in between the levels, so it'll be a little bit more safe for a marathon setting. But outside of that, it only costs a couple seconds, so it just makes sense. Also, you can, if you're a really fast reader, read maybe some of the text of this amazing story, which J2Champ is going to tell us about.
There's so much great story in this game.
They call it the Gone of the Wind of the NES, I believe. I'm not sure, but
There is no story in this game.
no, there's plenty of story. Right now, something happened.
Dastardly, who you may know from the cartoon,
Yep.
was chasing a bird,
Nice.
and his plane crashed. So now Muttley has to save him. And if you have seen the cartoon, you know that that's not going to work out how Dastardly plans for it, because
Never does.
basically, as he, as always happens in the episode, Dastardly sends Muttley on some obscure mission to acquire something or set a trap or something like that, and it backfires 100% of the time. So,
Wow. So he was chasing a bird with a plane.
yes.
Yes.
Interesting strategy. Interesting strategy, for sure. So what boss is this?
This
You've
is-
memorized all the names.
I
I'm going to
have.
test you each time.
Yeah, this is Rufus Ruffcut and
Oh, nice.
Sawtooth Beaver.
Are you a big fan of alliteration when it comes to names?
Some of these bosses have some pretty nice alliteration,
Yeah.
but like 4 of them are all P's. I think actually 3 out of 10 are all P's.
That's
so
tough.
it can be tricky to mix them up a little bit.
It's like a final exam for you. That's
Yeah.
intense. Yeah.
All right, and that's scenario 1. So you get a very quick cutscene and on to scenario 2.
Splish Splash. So what's going on in this story?
This time their engine blew up. Their car, the 00 Mean Machine, is a super-powered dragster-style race car.
Ooh, dragster.
Yeah. Tried not to bring it up, but I got to drop it once. No 557s here. But basically what Muttley's trying to do is find a new engine. So naturally we're going to go and destroy all the other cars so that we can't recover their engines either.
Okay. Awesome. I don't want to make you flee from the couch at all, but are you into dog puns at all?
Hit us.
I mean, I don't want it to color your opinion of me. You know?
Stop, please.
Okay.
Oh, jeez.
So we probably could take a time for a couple donations at this
Yeah,
point.
this is a good level for a couple donations.
All right. We've got a $50 donation from Groot. Says, good luck on the Wacky Races, Cove. Please give us your best Muttley laugh.
They're good at it. I've heard it.
Best I
That's
can
pretty
do.
good.
Not bad.
That's pretty quality.
So we should.
Yeah, that deserves a round of applause. Thank you.
Yo, thanks,
He's
Groot,
not
though.
only able to beat this game at such a high level, but he can actually imitate the characters from the cartoon.
It's very impressive.
That's high level performance right there.
Notably, in the cartoon, Muttley has no dialogue, yet in this game, somehow he learned how to talk. Later, he learns how to swim.
That's
But not now,
impressive.
because if you fall in the water, you die.
Oh,
So this is Peter Perfect in his Turbo Terrific. In the first phase of this boss battle, he's not so turbo, but as soon as the second phase comes around, oh man.
yeah, you'll notice that that the Cove is jumping up and using the bomb above his head and basically kind of clipping the explosion through the metal beam there to actually do damage like he just did there in order to speed up this fight. So it's kind of a really difficult timing for that tech, actually, and that's actually a much harder fight than he made it look like, for sure.
Yeah, especially to get it to go, as fast as possible.
Yeah. The swimming mechanics in this game are actually fairly interesting. There is a little bit of like a pull-up if you don't move any directions on the direction pad, but outside of that, you don't have to, tap the A button to stay afloat or anything. You can actually just move with, the D-pad in whatever direction you want and have no resistance.
only
Well,
in the-
in the 4 cardinal directions.
Four
that's
cardinal
right.
directions, yeah. So no diagonals, but there is no current you're going against. There's no constantly tapping A, so they're a little bit more easy to navigate. That shark, in particular, very difficult to kill, but we're able to do a little damage boosting. Considering we have 6 hearts of health, damage boosting is pretty useful. There's no knockback, and your iframes are fairly generous in this game. So.
Yep, definitely.
There's at least no knockback in the water.
Yeah.
So again, as we were saying earlier, you want to kill as many enemies as possible to reduce lag on screen. And the interesting thing is that as soon as you pull out the bomb, it actually introduces lag to the screen. So you kind of have to make sure that you're pulling out the bomb at the last possible second to get the proper trajectory to kill the enemy in order to get the most lag reduction.
That is a really baller swimming animation, too. I really like it.
No, he went all out on his swimming lessons.
Absolutely.
And this is the second boss we're going to be using damage boost strats on. This is definitely the toughest boss of the run to do fast.
Yeah, this is Professor Pat Pending in his converter car. And we're looking to do the same deal where you jump in, and in this case, you'll kind of take damage off of the car to get that additional height needed.
Yeah, it's actually very precise timing to be able to do this. Oh, unfortunately,
Missed
not
the first
getting it
one
there.
on the cannonball,
Let's
yeah.
see if he gets the next one. Oh,
Couldn't get
That
the
one,
bomb
that one
out.
was really close.
Yeah.
It's a very, very difficult timing. It's pretty precise. We timed it. I think it's like 1.9 seconds when it comes down. Sometimes it can feel like certain cannonball shots are moving at different paces than others, and so the timing you have to kind of anticipate it and jump into it. You can't wait to see it.
Yeah, there's
And,
no visual cue, there's no
yeah.
audio cue. You really just have to go by your gut on that one, and it can be tough to time. And that's why this game, really, if you want to get a top time, it takes a little bit of grinding, but the good thing is you're never going to lose a run to RNG. You're just going to lose a run to a little bit of difference in execution, a little bit of lag reduction.
Absolutely. There's a hot debate about this level. Are the clouds bow ties or are they candies? Hashtag team bow ties if you're on my team.
Also team bow ties.
Hashtag team candies if you're on the other team. Let's get that trending on Twitter. I think we're ready to get the answers
single
we've been
thing
looking
in this
for.
level is candy.
Yeah, and who wears candy, eats candy? People wearing bow ties.
That's always been my impression.
Yeah.
Every Candyman I've ever seen has
Yeah.
worn a bow tie.
Yeah, absolutely agree.
We've got a $5 donation from Mannix that says, shoutouts to everyone who is awake to watch one of the best speedrunners out there. Woo. More importantly, shoutouts to the Cove for staying awake. We all know that was a harder grind than Wacky races.
Yeah, Cove is one of the best speedrunners around, actually. Just took home the championship in the most recent Big 20, so...
Absolutely. If you're not aware of the Big 20, yeah, that deserves an
that's
applause for sure. Big 20, a Big 20 game tournament where there's 20 different goals over 20 different NES games. It's got a pretty storied history over the last 4 years. A lot of great runners have, won that. People like Toad, Yogi DeMonk, and the Cove in that now elite, standing in the speedrunning community, being able to say he's taken down a Big 20 title. So that's really awesome.
The highest level of competition there, for real. This is not the highest level of competition. This is Penelope Pitstop, one of the easiest bosses in the game.
I like that name.
She's the lone female racer, actually.
Are we on World C now?
Right after this, we are.
Yes.
Yeah.
That was the end of scenario B.
Because I don't want to make you pause, but what is the tale behind this story?
This one actually dastardly gets kidnapped by, who are they, Marauders? Or?
Desperados.
Oh, yes, the classic Desperados. So we have to actually save Dastardly, and can't possibly imagine how that'll go wrong.
It's awesome. This game introduces ice physics, which actually had never before been introduced in any NES title up to this point.
Yeah.
So it's just a really awesome innovation that you don't get to see very often.
Slippery
really awesome.
platforms. It's totally new.
Yeah.
1992. There definitely weren't, Zelda 3 games.
Yeah. I don't believe any game up to this point since has even ever used it. And these clouds, kind of interesting. He is not jumping in this situation. He is bouncing off the ground. So these will constantly bounce you up and down. So you have to kind of readjust your strategy for when you use the hover, when you're able to hop, when you throw things to this new kind of mechanic, which is cool.
That corner, that S turn right there is actually not trivial to get tight like that when you're bouncing. So he did well to navigate that.
Absolutely. And the Cov's executing really well, so you won't realize that. Anytime you die, you would lose your bombs, you would lose your hover, and have to regather the bones and stuff like that. But he's just staying on top of this. He hasn't taken a death and just doing a really great job. But, usually when you're casually playing this game, you're constantly managing that kind of Gradius-style inventory. Who is this?
Here we've got Red Max.
That's an easy one.
Yeah. He's got this kind of airplane car.
I don't think any of these cars are probably street legal.
I would say probably not. Maybe the Anthill mob, but everything else in their car is
but way over
questionable.
capacity.
Yeah, way over
Big
capacity.
way.
Yeah, you can get pulled over for that. There's no
Yes.
way there's that many seatbelts. Go America.
I don't exactly understand the names of the scenarios.
Sure, you got the Splish Splash level, the Go America level,
Hip hop.
the hip hop level. This game screams hip hop. I'll just say that.
The music is really good, but none of it is hip hop.
I guess that's true. What's interesting is the Cove here is actually able to manipulate these plants. So you see these plants that jump up and down. While he's in the air, if he hits the A button, it will actually manipulate the plant to jump up. So he's actually causing those plants to jump up at times that are most beneficial to him to either bypass them or be able to hit them with the bombs to despawn them and, again, reduce more lag. And then bunnies with pogo sticks.
Yeah, there's quite a bit of lag in these last few levels here. There's just a lot more enemies on screen, and they make their way further into the screen. So just a little bit more difficult to get them killed off and despawned as quickly as possible.
But you can distinctly see America in the background.
Yes, it's clearly America.
Yeah, so go America.
I'm going.
Yeah.
Got a $10 anonymous donation. Says, I'm excited to see Wacky Races. Exceptional speedruns tonight, and thanks to keeping the tradition alive.
Whoops.
Just a little movement blunder by the Cove there, but he's good to go. And this is a crowded car. This is a crowded vehicle.
Yes, this is the number 7 vehicle, the Ant Hill Mob, and there are actually 7 guys in that little car. They call it the Bulletproof Bomb.
It's not very bulletproof. Well, I guess we're not using bullets.
You are using bombs.
These are bombs.
Yeah.
It's not bomb-proof.
It's certainly not bomb-proof, but it is the bomb.
And nice background. The moon sets over city.
Yeah, it's pretty. I gotta say, the
City from
graphics are
America.
very nice, yes. The moon only exists in America.
Yeah, absolutely.
Everybody knows that.
So we finally see the Desperados here.
Yeah.
Elon Musk owns it.
This is clearly America.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This is where the cowboys live.
There are cactuses.
Aardvarks. I always see aardvarks
Aardvarkses.
all around Minnesota for sure.
Yep.
Sombreros, very
Yeah.
American.
This always reminds me of one of my favorite games that's actually in the arcade here, Sunset Riders.
Yeah,
what a
absolutely.
classic.
Great game. I mean, this game is developed, I believe, developed and published by Atlas, which is just a really great gaming company. You can go check out some of their titles throughout, the last 20 years. But they made games like Rockin' Cats and some other really awesome NES titles.
Amazing Tater on Game Boy,
Yeah.
of course. Yeah.
And similar to that game, this cart will run you a couple $100. So
Yeah.
you might want to run it on the Japanese version because it is a lot cheaper, but very collectible if you ever run across it in the wild.
Yeah, but we all know the best Atlas game is Spud's Adventure.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah, someone else was talking about this Shin Megami game. I've never really heard of that one, so.
Sounds anime.
Yeah.
We do have someone weighing in on the earlier discussion.
Oh, nice. I'd love to hear.
Mr. Onion says, what if candies are edible bow ties?
Wow. That's deep.
I'm just not open to that. I need some time to marinate.
Well, here you got Lazy Luke. It's a lazy battle.
They're getting lazy with the names is what they're doing.
You've got plenty of time to marinate in this fight.
And then there's Jim. Nice
Yeah, that's
fight.
one of the easier boss fights in the game.
Yeah. And we're on to the last level here.
Nice. What's kind of a bummer about Wacky Races is there is no final boss, quote unquote. You do have a boss
Right.
at the end of all, I believe, 10 levels, representing all 10 racers, I believe, from the cartoon. I think there were 10 racers.
There are 11
which-
if you include Dastardly and Muttley, of course.
And they've never won a race, I think. Isn't that the
Yes,
plot of
their-
everything?
Their 00 car number represents the number of win places and shows that they have in all of their races.
Or even finishes.
Even
Wow. I mean, that's quite the record. So,
Yes.
so you get to see all the characters from your beloved Hanna-Barbera cartoon from the 1960s that everybody, I'm sure, was on top of in 1992.
Yeah.
But there's no final boss. Like we said, you can do them in different orders or whatever. So
Right.
time's going to be at the end of the second cycle, this boss coming up.
If you are a fan of the original cartoon, they actually did a reboot just last year. They slimmed down
Yeah.
the cast a little bit and kind of rounded out the scenarios. It's an interesting reboot.
Well, we've learned a lot about carbs since then, so it's understandable that they slimmed down.
Yeah.
You don't have to laugh at that, I understand.
No, that's pretty bad.
Yeah, I get it. They're not all winners. Cobb on a really good pace here. Going to be going into this boss fight,
Yeah,
under
those,
19 minutes.
those
which is
metal
amazing.
chompers are one of the few enemies that you actually can't destroy, so no lag reduction opportunities there. Same with the boulders that are rolling across the stage. So
Yeah, and you can just see how much busier these levels have gotten as you go along.
Yep.
The A levels being a lot easier. Here we're at the final boss. I think Big Nose the K-Man is making an appearance here, and his friends.
they're the Slag Brothers.
The Slag Brothers.
Yes.
And I'm going on to phase 2. 9 hits here, and we will. I think you're ready to give time. You
Yeah,
are on top
1,
of the counting.
2, 3,
Yeah, that's as high as I
4,
can count.
5, 6, 7, 8, and time.
Nice. Really, 1904 is
Fantastic
a very good time. We're talking within
5 seconds.
5 seconds
of PB.
of the Kov's PB. Within, 20 seconds of the world record, 21 seconds off world record.
Yep.
Unbelievable. Definitely give this man a follow. Big 20 champion, the Kov.
No, and thank you, GDQ, for the huge honor of being able to play here. It's been one of my dreams since I started speedrunning, so thank you so much. And thank you for all the viewers watching and donating. You guys are awesome.
All right.
Absolutely.
I think that's a Muttley laugh percentage world record, though, right?
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah, probably is.
All right. Thanks to the Cove for that great Wacky Races run. Coming up next, we've got Kid Cool, also on the Nintendo Entertainment System, run by Smartball. Following that is Pizza Pop, Bangai O, and Gunstar Superheroes. Lots of great games coming up, so stay tuned to Summer Games Done Quick. We've got a $50 anonymous donation that says, "Thanks, GDQ. Always interesting to watch, even though I don't know the games myself. Also inspiring with all that dedication." Got a $5 donation from Bob the Builder. Says, "When I heard the Cove was playing, I had to donate. Also want to say hi to Zapolo 2. Love you guys." Thanks, Bob. Summer Games Done Quick is raising money for Doctors Without Borders. They're an awesome medical humanitarian organization working all across the world in over 60 countries. They provide assistance to populations in distress, victims of man-made or natural disasters, as well as victims of armed conflict. And they do so irrespective of your religion, race, political convictions, or creed. You can find out more information about our awesome charity at doctorswithoutborders.org. Alrighty, we're going to take a quick break here and run a couple ads. Be back in just a minute. Alrighty, thanks for your patience. We've got a $5 donation from GG. It says, "Excited for all the runs this year. Shout out to all my friends who are there without me." $15 donation from Miki27. It says, "Greetings from Germany. Longtime watcher, first time donator here." Thank you, Miki. I'd like to shout out another one of our sponsors, Fangamer. They're a video game merchandise company designing and producing official goods for all sorts of games like Shovel Knight, Undertale, Dark Souls, Persona 5, and more. They have a website at fangamer.com/GDQ. You can check out our GDQ merchandise there, and all profits from the GDQ merch is directed to Doctors Without Borders. As a reminder, any donations you're making during this event can be put towards incentives